booties for black girl nerds.
Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Of
thank
course,
you.
nice to
Thanks
meet
for
you.
talking to us.
Gordon, I want to start with you. Is Aang playing into his securities about taking on the role of the Avatar because he's still not ready to let go of the past?
I would say, yeah, Aang is he's a really fun-loving kid, and to have a responsibility like that is a really big deal for him, especially after, like, he just lost everything. Like, his friends, his family, they're all, like, gone, so he's all alone, and then I find these guys. And this guy, who is, awesome, but...
I don't know if he meant that or not. He's
But he's
awesome.
trying to capture he's trying to capture me. So like
Yeah.
Why you gotta be like that?
Yeah, he's the enemy of the Fire Nation. Like, what do you want me to do, bro?
not capture me. I can't.
And for you, Sokka tends to exaggerate his abilities. But then we find out throughout the series, he's actually quite humble about other skills that he has. Why do you think he tends to focus on one set of skills over the other?
I think maybe it's just like a dude thing. It's like he wants to just be like a fighter, you know? He's like, it's that, like, you know, that beginning storyline in him. He's like, I want to fight. That's how you be a warrior. That's how you be a dude. And then, you know, he gets some other skills that, like, you know, you don't have to be a warrior to be a hero vibes.
Absolutely. Kiawentiio, and hopefully I did not slaughter your name. There's this through line and theme within the series about confidence and growing into your identity. We see that with Katara's character as that develops, and we learn about she has this connection with her mother. Has her mom's absence shaped the way she sees herself as a waterbender?
I think it played a huge part into that. I mean, without giving away too much, I feel like she almost feels this sense of like, almost like it was my fault. Like, why couldn't I do more? And like that kind of almost hold her back, you know. And especially being the last waterbender of her tribe, I feel like that's like a huge responsibility that, I mean, not as huge as this guy over here, but definitely something that makes her almost, I don't know, it's just, it is a huge part of her and who she is. And I was super excited to get to play into the growing confidence in her throughout the series. And I felt like we were both on the same page, and I was like growing alongside her, you know.
Absolutely. And Dallas, for you, what do you think ultimately is Zuko's intentions? Is it about following orders to capture the Avatar, or is it about ego for him?
I'd say it's about kicking a 12-year-old in the face.
What happened to honor?
No, I'm sorry. Could you repeat your question?
Oh, well, what do you think Zuko's intentions ultimately is? You know, is it about following orders to capture our Avatar here, or
Yeah.
you know, is it about an ego thing for him?
I think it's both. I think there's so many different factors that tie into what makes Zuko such a complex character in our series. So while he does have this ego of being the rightful heir to the throne, you know, he does believe it is his destiny. He does believe that he is doing the right thing by capturing the Avatar for the sake of the Fire Nation, which was implemented into his mind at a young age through his father, which, you know, we all think is a good-looking man, but is he a good man?
Oh, wow. What a soundbite.
Wow. You're gonna love that
That
one.
was deep.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's both of those and so much more.
Like honor.
Absolutely. Well, we will find out throughout the series. Is he a good man? What are his intentions? We will find out soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to Black Girl Nerds. You guys have done this series justice. I can't wait for all of the Avatar fans out there to be able to see this series, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
These are the
Dope
dope
questions.
signing out.
All right.
Bye.
Hello, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello. So, Paul, starting with you, does Iroh see a lot of himself in Zuko? And would you say that would be a fair characterization of their relationship?
That's really great, actually. I never really thought of it that way, but I'm sure more than anything, what I was playing was he saw a lot of Liu Ten, his son, who passed away during the siege on Ba Sing Se in Zuko. And I've been fortunate enough to play a lot of father characters who've suffered. Fortunate enough, I've been playing a lot of father-like characters who've lost their sons or estranged from their sons in the past, and there's something about that sort of relationship that draws me as an artist. Anyways, I've got a great relationship with my dad. And so it's really, when you have a scene partner like Dallas Liu, who embodies Zuko, and you see the struggles he's going through because he's got dad issues as well. He desperately wants his approval, and you see him trying so hard. As a father who has lost his son, it's something that it really, really draws him to that character, right? So I don't think it's as much as Iroh seeing elements of himself in Zuko, but his son, who was, I believe, Iroh believes was the best parts of him. And when somebody is lost that tragically at such a young age, he wants to do his best to ensure that that never happens to anyone ever again. And so, and it's built beautifully, I think, in the series, the relationship between the two, the compassion that Zuko has for his uncle and for even his own father. So that is something that for me was what drew me to it, and what we really worked on and wanted to get. I mean, it wasn't really work, but we wanted to make sure that that relationship shone through.
Yeah, such an interesting relationship between these two characters. Daniel, over to you. What do you think ultimately drives the Fire Lord's intentions? Does greed have a factor in that, or is it more complicated by his past?
I think, a therapist would have a field day with Ozai, but I think he's got a lot of a sense of inadequacy, and he feels like he's overcompensating. I think what's interesting in the family dynamic of their family is that he's actually the younger brother to Iroh, so he's not technically the person who should be the Fire Lord. It should be his older brother. And so what is the pathology of someone who wants to supersede the traditional path of ascendancy and jump steps? You see it a lot. You see that same kind of thing in our politicians, that unabashed will to power, and the fact that they will stop at nothing to get it, even at the expense of their own close relationships.
Paul, Iroh says that cities are like people. There are dark sides to them.
Mm-hmm.
Does Iroh try to balance his dark side with trying to show good intentions?
I think so. I mean, he's a man with a very complicated past. He was a general that led the siege on Ba Sing Se for 600 days. He inflicted a lot of suffering on a lot of people. And he says it was a war, which is why he did it. But once he suffers that terrible loss, that personal loss, it really forces him to step back and re-examine what his priorities are and what's really important to him. And I think from that moment on, and especially seeing the love and compassion that Zuko shows him, really sort of gets him to turn that corner and see things in a different perspective. And it is that sort of complexity in the human nature that is a part of all of us, and that we do have that. You can't have the light without the dark. And so once you've been on that dark path and you see the light path, there is that sort of that growth, that journey, but also the acknowledgement of this is the way I was. It was destructive and really non-productive. And now he's trying to turn the corner and really lift others up, like Zuko, along the path of enlightenment. So.
Well, Paul, Daniel, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to Black Girl Nerds. Really enjoyed this series, and I can't wait for everybody else to see it on the premiere.
Thank you.
Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds.